All right, we're ready to go. So as we look at pedicuring, here's our learning objectives. Make sure we're staying focused on these objectives. Number one, explain why pedicure knowledge is important to a cosmetologist. Number two, identify necessary and optional pedicure equipment. Number three, describe the pedicure implement, identify materials unique to pedicures, list professional pedicure products, list the steps in a pedicure client consultation, explain differences between a basic pedicure and a spa pedicure, and then identify pedicure massage benefits and describe approaches to pedicures for clients with health considerations. Finally, summarize the importance of cleaning and disinfecting a pedicure foot bath. All right. Why I study pedicuring. And so we always look at these check-in questions. The check-in questions and the terms are always going to be very important for you. In our first set of obligation when it comes to our check-in questions, why cosmetologists should study pedicuring. Okay, if you look in your ebook, every chapter you will see the why under bullets throughout that particular area. What services can be included as part of a service pedicure? When we look at pedicure equipment, this has been a traditional pedicure chair. Okay, there are alternative ways. They are continuously trying to determine the health way, the health worthy way to prevent infection. And so this has been a traditional way. If it is cleaned, if it's disinfected properly, you really would not have any problems. But you see some additional things that they do. They have the plastic covering. Some individuals just have like pedicure chairs detached from a bowl. They use alternatives for the bowl, such as like planters or buckets, a bowl or separate bowls. They put flowers and all kind of stuff in there, but this is a standard traditional pedicure equipment. If you can handle infection control and you're concerned about the health of your client and you stopping the spread of infection, this bowl would be amazing for you. It would be amazing. We're looking at pedicure, an additional pedicure station. Okay. Of course, it has all the comforts. My only thing with this one is I'm tall and I stretch out. Okay, so my legs are long. And with this kind, when they ask to put, bring your, they tap you if you ask you to put your leg out, it's long. Okay, so I usually do need something that adjusts whether it pulls me back so my leg will be able to stretch out, or something that pushes forward. The pedicure stool and footrest. This is a traditional one, but I'm going to urge you to get something that's ergonomic. And when I say ergonomic, if I look at this is ergonomic in a small way because of the cushion. The cushion has a purpose. It's for the, for the bottom. It keeps it soft, so it doesn't hurt. And when your body aches and hurt, you don't really do the best of job or do your job at all. And so when it comes to the pedicure stool and footrest, please make sure that it's something ergonomic, which means something that fits for you. People are different heights. Maybe if you had a stool to go up and down, a cushion, that would be great. Your pedicure foot bath. Okay, traditional, making sure that it's clean. Also, liners are suggested simply to catch shavings of dead skin, nails, things of that nature. The biggest thing that a lot of people deal with and may have, and it may be a barrier for them to get in a foot bath, is simply putting their feet in, not knowing if it's been clean, even though it smells clean, it smells amazing. But when you put the water in, the particles from the drain come up, okay? And so that bacteria can come back up into their water and cause infection. And I'm not just talking, there's plenty of documented cases where this has happened and people have had to have, they've had infections on their legs, around their ankles. In some cases, their toes or feet. The foot had to be cut off. In some cases, the leg had to come off. But nevertheless, that's why we make sure that infection control is the number one thing when we're in the nail salon. Air jetted whirlpool bath. Of course, the comfort, the bath, but also it has draws the water in and out and around, in and out and around. So it's just, it'll circulate in particular areas. Okay, and then we have a pedicure cart. Of course, convenient. I love the rollers on it. I love the dryer. It holds everything you need and can go from station to station. You have your foot mitts. Okay. Um, they're great for it. Also goes with a service. It's a paraffin dip service. Goes great with that service. And then you put the mitts on. It's gonna help conceal. Great for dry skin. Keeps everything warm. So the mitts will go along well with the paraffin bath. Okay. And you make sure the feet are clean, and you usually dip the feet about 3 times. But they have that brush. Ugh, that brush is what? I don't like the brush. Do y'all know? Can somebody put in the chat or unmute? Why do you think I have a problem with that brush?
Cross contamination.
Yeah. And then I'm like, you're dipping. So just like if you were waxing, there's no double dipping with the stick. All right. There's no double dipping with the stick. So now we're double dipping with the brush. There's no brush. You need to make sure that you have enough paraffin wax in there, which means if you're waxing a lot, you need about 3 or 4 blocks. The blocks are very inexpensive, cheap. And so you make sure you have at least 3 or 4 blocks in there. So when you dip the foot, that the wax comes up to the ankle. And if you dip it about 3 times, that's standard, it'll cover the whole foot. We wouldn't need to go in and use our brush. Okay. Yeah, that cross contamination is So here's the thing. If she takes that brush and dips it in the paraffin, then puts it on the foot and keeps doing it, she has to throw that brush away. She can't use it on anybody else. And all of the paraffin inside has to be thrown away. Pot has to be cleaned, disinfected, and then it can get new wax. You can't do that for every person. They're not doing it for every person. This is how germs and bacteria, we break the barrier. This is how we transmit stuff, because somebody could have something in between the toes. All right. Or there could be something on the brush that got on the skin. And even you take somebody who's super sensitive, so on and so on. Yes, the wax, the paraffin wax in the machine is super, super hot. Okay. So it's supposed to kill germs continuously. But we are not going to put an item in and continue dipping over and over and over. Okay. Now, most people will use large wood spatulas, just like wax sticks, but the big ones. Okay, they'll pick them up and then they would do that and they would just continuously throw them away. I've seen that. And so if you're going to do this as a service, you really have to think, how do I still keep this level of infection control? Do I get plastic scoops? Do I do plastic cups? Like, what do I do? And you could literally do plastic cups. Pick up the wax, pour it on, throw the cup away. The foot never goes into the foot bath. But you would have to figure out a way that you could do this without contaminating the whole entire pot. This is a great upcharge. Man, I get paraffin. I haven't had a paraffin bath in a long time, but I love paraffin on my feet, on my hands, on my elbows. I've even had a body wrap with paraffin and mud. Black mud called Parafango. It's mud and paraffin, and they take it and they paint that all over your body. Then they wrap your body in saran wrap. Okay. You're on the table, and then they wrap you in bandages, like bandages. They lay you on a table. They put the mylar blanket on top of you and another blanket so that it brings in that heat. And after about 30 minutes, I said 15 to 20 minutes. I don't want to lay there that long. But after that time, they take the blankets off and they take the scissors and they cut this off. Okay. And they just peel it back from your skin. The skin looks amazing. It detoxifies the skin, so it pulls waste materials out. The skin, like I said, it looks amazing, but also the arms, just like a body wrap, the waist, the thighs, sometimes the buttocks in those particular areas, people they see weight loss because of things that has been pulled out. Okay, so they're inches. They start to see inches and little centimeters of they're thinner now than they were when they first laid down because of the toxins being pulled out of concentrated areas. Think about when maybe you walked the track before. You know, you walked the exercise track. You know, we get out there in the summertime, we walk around the track, and most of the time you see individuals with a what do they call it? They will probably have saran wrap on. They have the plastic bag suits, or they'll have the body, the ones that snap. What do we call those? I don't know. I forgot
Waist
what they.
trainers.
Yeah, yeah, they have the waist trainers on, and when they open them up, and take off the suit, you know, they're wet. They can literally squeeze them out liquid, pour them out liquid. And so what happens, that heat, and then that the waist trainer along with the saran wrap, and also you can use oils, you can use coffee, you can take coffee granules and rub it around those areas where you got a lot of fat, and you'll start to see it start pulling out. Okay, so in sensual, this is what happens. They lay down their one measurement, they get up there another measurement. The key thing is they tell you when you get up, don't go sit in a tub of hot water or a tub of water, because it just pulls the water out. Those pores essentially still open. It could pull water back in. And so you have a lot of people before their big day, before their wedding, before they do a whole lot of stuff, they take pictures, they go and get these type of detoxes that really refine, start to contour the body is really fresh. When you're talking about going like to a spa day and you spend a whole day there, this is one of the things they really do. They do the paraffin, enriches the skin, but they also would do like the body wrap. So the same thing they use for the feet would be the same thing that they would use for the waist, for the arms, whatever areas that you want to concentrate on and firming up. That's another thing. So you lost a lot of weight. You can use this technique, maybe with some bentonite clay. Make it, you know, take some clay and water and just make it into like a cream, and you rub that on your the areas where you have, you know, you want to firm up. So whether that's the arms, whether that's the thighs, whether that's the belly area, and you wrap it up in saran wrap. Now I didn't say it was going to be pleasant. You may itch a little bit, but all of what I mentioned to you, bentonite clay, it's a detoxer. It's going to pull waste out. So the same thing if you put it in your bath water and you set there, they said don't set it more than 20 minutes. Yes, it makes you go to sleep, but it also pulls waste out of your pores. It's a detox. And so the paraffin bath is usually used with detox clay mass, and it acts as a purifier. Okay, so it really cleans things out. And if you know anything about the feet, sometimes the healing components of the body are at the bottom of the feet. Okay, the healing components of the body at the bottom of the feet. I don't know if you guys have old school grandmas where they put potatoes in the bottom of the feet, onions, garlic on the bottom of your feet, and put your socks on. And when you wake up in the next morning, um, you're feeling better, the potato is black or the potato is brown because it has pulled a lot of toxins out of the body. Garlic and onion is very beneficial to the body, and you will find that sometimes they will start at the feet going up. So taking care of your client's feet and being really knowledgeable about what's going on with the body. You find out what's going on with them up top, and you can say, okay, I could treat them. Maybe something new to you. I can treat them by finding that location on the bottom of the feet, and that is called reflexology. Okay, whatever's going on in the body, you can find a connector in the feet. You can find a connector. Okay. If we look at, and just side note, if we look at the tops of the toes, that's the head. The tops of the toes, that's the head. And so if you squeeze the toes, tops of the toes, especially the big toe, you're relieving pressure off your sinuses, headaches, big toes, top of the big toes. Okay. And so if you have the top of the body here, the middle of the body is going to be this area, but we're talking the bottom of the feet. And then torso down, you're talking a little bit further before you get to the heel. And then heel is going to be the bottom half of the body. All right. So you look at your feet, you're also looking at your body, all your connectors from the top. Okay. Major organs. And then you have torso down, that's pelvic area down, into the heel area. So all the organs that are within the body has a connector in the bottom of the feet. And so a lot of times when you apply pressure in different areas of the feet, it can relieve pressure of whatever you got going on in the top part of the body. Look it up, check it out. It's called reflexology. Okay. And a little Chinese medicine, acupressure, acupuncture, they will take needles into these points as well. And these points would be in the ears, most of the time in the ears. So whatever you can, there's a connector in the foot. There's also connectors in the ears, connectors in the hands. Okay. Just a side note, anytime you're dealing with your manicures and you're dealing with somebody's hands and feet, you are actually operating in a place where you can offer holistic healing. Okay, so anytime it's a form of touch, it's a form of stimulation, form of massage. And based on what they've said in their consultation, what they got going on, you can actually perform massage movements and techniques that can relieve pressure in those particular areas. And you do have cosmetologists, esthetician, manicurists who just focus on holistics. Just focus on holistics. Okay, here's the hot stones. You guys can massage. The scope of practice when it comes to massage is the feet no higher than the knee. It's the hands, no, and arm no higher than the elbow. Okay. You could do the face, you could do the scalp, but that's the only components of massage. That's your scope of practice for massage. All right. If you don't want to use your hands, an alternative or add-on would be the hot stones. Okay. The darker the stone, the more heat that the stone holds. The lighter the stone, it stays colder longer. That makes sense. The darker the stone, the more heat that it will hold. The lighter the stone, okay, the more coolness it will hold. So if you want to stimulate muscles and things of that nature, you can take the hot stones. We would heat them up. Okay, and then after you heat them up, you'll dip them in cool water, just like a cool bath, just so it doesn't burn the client's skin. Lift it up, dry, place a little massage cream or oil. I like oil or massage cream on the stone, and you can use that to rub around the muscles. You can put them particularly on motor points. You can put them particularly on certain muscles, and it stimulates the muscle, okay? Causes it to relax. It tightens up, then it relaxes. And then that heat, as it sits on top of that muscle, starts to penetrate deeper into that muscle to that client really, what attention is starting to be released, things that would have been that's balled up in that muscle will start to contract and then smooth out. I love hot stones. Okay. You can do hot stones in between the toes. You can do hot stones on the hands and fingers. You can do it on the face. The key component is finding a stone that fits a body part. Right. Um, how I discovered hot stones just years and years and years ago. Had a friend from Africa. Every time she went home, she would bring back these hot stones. And so her family lived near the beach, one of the beaches, and these stones were plentiful. So they would take the rocks and throw them into the water. You know, that was part of their play, is to see the rock tread in the water. And, you know, she would just see the stones. They were so dark. And because of the water, they would become smooth. And so they were not sharp anymore. They were just smooth. And she would bring the stones back. And so some of the rough ones, she would bring back big stones, and we would use them for roughing up like a file on the bottom of the feet. Instead of using like a blade to get like old callus things off, she would bring back one of those stones, a big one that had the little holes in it, and we would take that across the bottom of the feet. And it would, soon as we touch it, like all the dead skin would come off. So I absolutely love that. I don't know where she is now, but she had a salon on Winchester. And I know she was from Macaroon. So very, very, I think she moved to Virginia or something of that nature. But man, we used to have the hookup on all the stones, and the stones were, you had to find the shape. And so that was fun going through her bucket, just finding the perfect shape. But all of them came from the African coast. So I absolutely loved it. And it held so much heat. And so now you have the manufactured stones. They still do well, but I do like the ones from the African coast. And of course, as in aesthetics, when we talk about skincare, the cold stones are used to rid of severe redness. If someone is to come skin down, if someone is experiencing inflammation, some pain, some redness, that's what the cool stones do. The cool stones also help lift, okay, because it causes the muscle to tighten. It helps lift. So a lot of times you'll see them use cool stones in the face, like the cheeks. This is where the quartz, you know, the rollers come from. They're meant to be cool. If you have a roller, they're meant to be cool. You put it in a refrigerator. You put them in the refrigerator, let them get cool, and then you roll it across your face. What happens, it contrasts, it causes that muscle to tighten up. And so a lot of people use it to tighten up their jaw area, to give good contour, like suction like to the face. Also, it helps with lymphatic drainage, gets the puffiness out of the face. And so I said that I was going to get me a roller, and I was going to start working around my chin area to eliminate some of this as well. And then, of course, we got other check-in questions 3 and 4. Let's make sure we complete those. Looking at implements now, when it comes to implements, the state board wants you to put them into 2 categories: single use and multi-use. If looking at these implements here, we have 3 right now. If you were looking at it now, we have some multi-use items and we have some single-use items, okay? The one single-use item, if I could pick a single-use item out, these toe separators will be considered single-use items. Why? Because they've been in between someone's toes, their feet, they're probably spongy. And here's the other reason: when they're spongy, they can absorb moisture, which moisture translates into bacteria, okay? And it could sit there. And so you don't want to put these from person to person because you're spreading bacteria from person to person. So this would be one that would be in single use. If I you think of multi-use, things that you can wash, disinfect, and use again. Okay. Anything metal. So the clippers, the nippers, the scissors, all of that is multi-use. All right. When I think about the foot file, in order to use it again, you're going to have to replace the grit. The black part, you're going to have to replace that to use it again because again, bacteria can live in between the grits and you can spread it from one person to the next. Toenail clippers and nippers, okay? Cut the toenails down. The nippers also get rid of the dead skin, that overlay of cuticle. Have your correct, okay? This is going to be important that your pedicures use this to make sure that it helps prevent ingrown nails, all right? And it cleans out from under the toenail, all right? And so you have individuals that come in for polish changes. And polish changes great, doesn't mean they're getting a pedicure, but you may want to have this little buddy on the side because, as they walk or maybe on the beach, whatever, granules, different things get up in the nail. So to clean it out to make sure infection doesn't come. And also it's used as a gauge also to prevent ingrown nails. Same with a nails rasp. Okay, great for cleaning, keeps this nail groove in position. All right, it's great, keeps it in position so it doesn't go deeper, it doesn't go sideways. Pedicure nail file, okay, comes in different grits, can have a removable grit. All right, usually come multi-packed. You can buy them singular as well. The higher the number, the stronger the grit. You have foot files, pedicure paddles, comes with a removable grit here. Okay, so really files and I won't say buff, but evens out rough and dry skin. Of course, we're going to wear gloves. We're all about infection control. The favorite gloves is going to be nitrile, especially if you're going to be using heat and things of that nature. So you always want to make sure you're wearing gloves. But a fun fact, what you did not know about me, I love doing pedicures. Love, love, love doing pedicures simply because I know where the feet been all day. The smell don't bother me. I know where the feet been all day. Okay, the smell does not bother me, and so I rather do the pedicures because first thing I do is I'm a soak. Okay, first thing I do, I'm a soak. The purpose of the soak is to soften the skin and loose dead bacteria, dead skin, dirt. It loose from the foot. Okay, and then when it loose, it goes into the water. So by the time I do pull it up, ready to get the file and remove polish and get the filing, I don't have to worry about it. It's just like I just had a foot bath. My feet just had to do nothing but sit there. So I love pedicure. And we have more check-in questions. Unique pedicure materials. We have your toe separators. Like I told you about the toe separators also. Sometimes just give the clients the toe separators. They're very inexpensive. They're just like spatulas and nail files. But get something that's branded. Get your brand color or something of that nature. We wouldn't use those again. So, encourage the clients to continue using them. I don't know how many people still use them because honestly, I know Teresa is our expert on here, but Teresa, do you see more people getting more gel or shellac on their toes than regular polish like back in the day?
Yes, most people they do opt for gel on their toes, and then it's funny because the people who don't, who like still ask me for regular polish, 9 out of 10 they come back because they done bumped it or hit it or something done happened. They're like, you know what, just give me gel, and it's like, I told you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't care at this point. I don't care how much it costs. I'm getting that gel because my number one thing when I used to get my nails done, and that's sometimes why I didn't get the nails done. I could not go a day with like fresh new nail the look. I was always bumping something or something chipped the next day, and I was like, you know what, forget it. Then I went to just give me black polish. That way nobody can tell the damaging. But I was like, nah, I just want to go with this nice shine. And when I tell you, I feel like I be pushing it, but my toes, I can go another week or two. I be pushing it. But now I'm like, when I go back, I'm like, I think I'm good. I'm thinking I'm good. But I know I can't go in the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna have to go back. But that is the number one thing. I say, I don't think a lot of people I know get regular polish anymore. I know for me, always being on the go, it's a no-go for me. I like the shine. And so it's a big seller for me. And I never really liked the toe separators because I knew the nail shop I was going to was recycling. So that was just my pet peeve. But I don't know about you guys. I like her toes, but you can tell they're not, you know. And then pedicure slippers. They do have nail supplies here, but there are different places. Like they just had a big show in Chicago, and I really want to go to this show. I didn't plan accordingly, but I know I'm gonna do something in June. I know I'm gonna do something in June. And so I plan to do some restocking on my supplies and stuff in June because when you go, I may get 1,000 toe separators for $20. What am I gonna do with 1,000 toe separators? But I got them down from 40 to $20. And honestly, these companies FedEx, UPS charge them so much just to pack stuff up and send it back. Most of the time on the last day, and remember, I'm telling you this, on the last day, you get the best amazing deal because they don't want to pack it up. Okay. So this is why you see people sometimes to go to trade shows, they have they take their suitcases, they take their buggies, because they know they're going to stock up on the supplies that they need. And this was the thing. Like when I was in the salon actively, of course, Nairobi was one like a key staple for phone wrap. If you're familiar with Nairobi, the blue moose, and we would go to the show. It would start off being about like 60 $65. It was 40 $45 by the last day, and you just got what you need to put it in your suitcase and kept going because to even get the cases to send it back, you're talking about thousands of dollars to pack that stuff up and send it back. So they would make some money off of it instead of going back to the warehouse with it. Same thing with slippers, any of your supplies or implements. Looking at professional products, foot soaks. Like I told you, a lot of people are doing this method here with the foot soaks. I love it. I don't really care for the massage as much, but I don't really need the jets either. The aesthetic of it is pretty. It sells me. I'm sold. I'm sold because of the aesthetic, but the simpleness of it. Okay. And then we could take this foot bath, spray, soak. And honestly, y'all, bleach is not suggested to be used in the beauty salons or nail shops. If you really get deep into it, bleach is not, our state board says no bleach. Bleach is we should be, and it's because of the smell. Okay. We should be using something that kills viruses, bacteria, and fungus. Okay. They got to have all three of those components. So we're really just trying to make sure that infection just shuts down. Any bacteria, any fungus, any virus, all that's shut down. And so sometimes your disinfectants that has no presence in it at all are the strongest ones that's gonna stop bacteria from growing. But the aesthetic of it all, the flowers, the lemons, the oranges are all amazing. If you know anything about lemons and oranges, they are citrus. Citrus helps even tone. It helps remove dead skin cells, and so it's just like vitamin C for the feet. It brightens and lightens. Okay. Of course, it is topical, which means you would need to support it with some additional items. But I make an amazing foot soak, body soak, that the last couple of weeks, my clients that buy my products are like, whoa. And I told them I made it for women over 40, but I think their husbands are using it too. I've been making things. I have a magnesium bath. Are anyone familiar with magnesium? Magnesium. Using the
Yes.
magnesium. Yes, you are. Do you use it?
I use so we actually have a we do an antifungal treatment at the nail salon because when I first started getting into like pedicures, manicure, and things like that, a lot of people fail to realize that stuff like athlete's foot and toenail fungus is very common, and
Mm-hmm.
they're very shy because they don't know who. Obviously, they need to go to a podiatrist and get it treated. But we do like an antifungal treatment pedicure. So that pedicure specifically, it's warm water, Epsom salt that's infused with magnesium, tea tree oil,
Yeah,
vinegar, baking soda, and so we let them sit in that soak for like 10-15 minutes. Then we start the pedicure, and then we kind of explain to them like the care that they need to take at home, and then we also recommend that they see a podiatrist on top of all of that. But kind of
I
going
do that too.
based on what you said earlier, like when, for example, because the tubs I actually have, we don't have the the bags, but
Mhm.
we really do make sure, like, after we treated somebody who does have fungus, like, we throw everything away except obviously like the nippers, cuticle pusher,
Yeah,
things like that. But we have our own protocol how to disinfect that. But that chair, we don't let anybody sit in that chair for 30 minutes until we do like our proper disinfecting. So we'll also
that's
clean
good.
it, soap, water, all of that, and then we still go back in, clean it with we'll let it soak with alcohol, not alcohol, vinegar as well, and baking soda. Then we'll drain it again, and then the last soak we let it run with barbicide and warm water just to kind of make sure, that
Ooh,
precaution.
yeah, I
Yeah,
could come there. I could come there.
yeah, because you just it's something that can be passed on to somebody else really easy.
Hmm.
But if you're a clean person or your salon does the right protocols, like,
No
and I
problem.
no problem. And we also sell an anti-fungus oil that we have a lot of men who, like, within 6-8 months, like, it's gone
Oh wow.
completely. They have a whole new nail. They like their toes and everything.
Okay, well, I'm gonna come get some of that. I know a couple of them. Well, yeah, that's number one. Everything you said about the magnesium, even the foot tub, the implements. Thank you so much. And y'all, this is our, I would say, in-house expert on nails. So definitely, you have any questions or you want to go get a service, please make sure you contact her. But that magnesium foot bath, I was gonna tell you, your people are sleepy when they get up, or they go to sleep while you're working on them, right?
Yeah, they so relaxed. They're like, man, I don't know what voodoo you put in this, but I'm like, this ain't no voodoo. This you just relax. And a lot of times they do fall asleep. A lot of people they fall asleep on us all the time, regardless if they're getting their feet done or their hands done.
They fall asleep.
Um, they fall asleep. Yeah, but it
Well,
is because of the magnesium. It helps you relax.
yeah, that's a safe place. That's like, yeah, we can do that. We can fall asleep. In that box, yeah, because it was targeted women over 40, but of course everybody can use it. Who's having issues like, or maybe beginning hot flashes, perimenopause, or getting ready to go through menopause and things of that nature. But it also helps, it improves the skin, it helps with the cramping and it helps sleep, helps your sleep. And so I was saying, hey, my sister was having a whole lot of aches, and she was like, make me something. And I was like, okay, found this, put a few things together, little some essential oils, and she was like, I was knocked out in 15 minutes. I was like, what? She said her husband told her, you got to get out this tub because you about to go to sleep. And she's been on it ever since. I was like, so you get to have um your personal, you get to have your personal soak. And so I took that and I probably sold it about 4 or 5 times since then. And we have a whole box. And I'd rather do the soak because just trying to see how the spray reacts on someone's skin. They do have the spray to improve as well. You can maybe use the spray foot tubs, but I really like the flakes. I really like the soaks. It's something about just relaxing. I just really like the soap component of it. So that's what we've been doing over here, just trying to get our life together and enjoying the bath, slowing down and enjoying our foot baths and our entire bath soak, getting those muscles together. So we're not taking ibuprofen and medicine all the time. The same with exfoliating scrubs. I like coffee and sugar. I don't know. Have you guys used coffee as a scrub before? As a body scrub, facial scrub? Coffee helps get rid of like fat pockets. So a lot of people use coffee on cellulite areas, but coffee can be used on the feet too. So you just take your oils and take your coffee, of course, the granules, and you mix it together like a sugar scrub and even put some brown sugar with it. And you can do the feet, you can do the legs. You can even retail it to the clients to do their thighs and buttocks areas. But it's used to help smooth skin and eliminate fat pockets. So it is one of those things that's even in body contouring, they have it in a gel coffee base to help with the body contouring in a gel form. So coffee's been around for a while, and it's one of those exfoliating scrubs that you can use. That's again non-traditional, but I love coffee smell, but and I love it because of the benefits. So if the granules are, too rough for the client's skin, you can take the granules and really crush them and break them down a little bit more till they're really fine and use it as a scrub for the feet. It has skin conditioning, like I said, it has toning. So any individuals who are losing weight and they've lost a rapid weight maybe and they are looking to tone, someone who's exercising to tone, the coffee granule is going to be great because it firms the skin, tightens, and it helps eliminate fat pockets, adipose. But I love exfoliating scrubs. It's get rid of the dead skin cells. It's going to give your skin a nice smooth shine, but you got to make sure that those granules in the scrubs are fine because the scrubs could also cut the skin. Make sure they're fine. You can add different components to the scrubs, but be careful. I wouldn't, in customizing, do more than 3 ingredients because I want it to be beneficial. I don't want to overweight and now we don't know what we're using. So exfoliating scrubs are great. Masks are good for toning, removing dead skin cells. It's just like the reversal of facial on the face, but we do it on the foot. It brings life. It's going to tighten. It can hydrate the skin. So especially if you have clients who are really drying, I would not use clay mask. We'll go to the gel mask. We'll do something paraffin mask, something that's moisturizing that'll give a benefit to the skin, but it also tones, it also improves the texture and of the skin. So when I say it tones, if you have some discoloration, it kind of brings all of that together. It aids in eliminating dark spots, and as far as the texture, it brings it from rough to a smooth and softness to the skin. Okay, and it also will tighten up in certain areas. So I love the mask. And what can be used on the feet and different components, check your ingredients. It's also similar ingredients that can be used on the entire body. So you're doing a foot mask, you can do a body mask. Okay, you can take the same thing and do a body mask. So it's almost like your products have multi benefits and can be used in multi areas. Foot lotions and creams. Now you have different parts of the body that have different levels of sensitivity. So things that are made particularly for the feet, I do not use on the face. Okay, and I do not use like on the chest, the upper body area. That skin is just a little bit more sensitive, and so most of the times you have more emollient that's added to foot creams and foot lotions, and it sometimes can be just too much oils that are set up and settle on the face. And so and they're formulated for like rough dry areas, and you don't have that rough dryness on the face. And so those particular items, when it comes to foot lotions and creams, they can be a little thicker because you're wanting to keep that area more moisturized and hydrated longer. And a lot of times we can stand for a thickness on the feet and then put a sock on, but most people cannot stand for that to be this thick coating on their face. And so I would leave those particularly on the foot, and that's lotions and creams. Callus softeners. The only reason we have a callus, they're literally our protectors. They watch out for us. Okay, they watch out for us. So seemingly, the more we stand, the more we pressure that we put on, the more weight we gain. We're telling basically our skin to, hey, they need some help on the bottom. It's almost embarrassing. They need some help on the bottom. Build up, because you got to hold this weight. You got to hold up there on their feet a lot, build up. And so our body literally is sending signals to our skin on the bottom of our feet to build and become stronger. Okay. And then we look up and say, what is this? What is going on? Why is it so dry? And it's simply because it's just building up to help preserve what's coming. And so we use callus softeners. And if you want to lessen that, stay off your feet, lose some weight, exercise, and you'll see a lot of things in the body start to change. Okay, so callus softeners, I absolutely love a softener that when you can just start to rub it on the feet, you start to see that old dead skin cells those calluses just start to roll off. I absolutely love it. That's probably one of my favorite times of a pedicure is when the softener goes on the feet. We look at active ingredients of the softener. Urea, in many different effects. It can, you find this a lot of times in body products, sprays, perfume products. I don't want to use companies, but people use a lot of creams and lotions that smell like fruits and things like that on their body that has urea, and urea can be purified or fall into a crystallized urine category. Okay. And if you ever think as a child, you ever seen someone take a pamper and say, put it on the baby face? Y'all ever seen people? Y'all had an old school grandmama, auntie that took the baby urine and put it on their face to get rid of credit cap or get rid of something they had going on
Yes,
the
ma'am,
face.
I've heard it.
Yeah. And so urea falls into that category. All right. It's a pretty word for purified urine. Okay. The good kind. And so you find that a lot in your, you go to your stores that have the nice scented sprays and lotion. You'll find that in there sometimes as well. Salicylic acid is used to remove old dead skin cells, and it helps fight acne. So it makes sense for you to have that in there in the callus remover because it removes old dead skin cells. Okay, so it's one of those effective acids. It also falls into the category of chemical peel. And so salicylic acid, potassium hydroxide is um it is one of those, actually it's an ingredient for, think about relaxers, but a lot of people think of no lie relaxers, so it falls in the on the no lie side. Okay. And a lot of people use sodium hydroxide, but there are many different. There's thio relaxers too, that the ones they use to break down the Jheri curls, the permanent wave. So there's many other types of relaxers, and potassium hydroxide is one of those chemicals in those alternative relaxers. And so you think about something of breaking down dead skin, then you have salicylic acid with it, and then a purifying, cleaning, a cleaning ingredient. All of that together gives you your callus removers, and it's the active ingredients. So it's not just all the ingredients, but these the ones that help pull that callus, soften the skin, and pull that callus right off. When you're considering a professional product line, times have really shifted and changed based on the economy and what you see. Trend now is running rapid, but I tell individuals, no matter what the trend is, stick to your guns when it comes to the basic things. You're always going to need something for manicuring, pedicuring, but always, if you're going to support a product company, I don't think it's time to purchase like $10,000 whole lines. A lot of companies, that's all they wanted to do was sell. You can't buy it separate. You got to have $10,000 whole line. But they have collections now, and I noticed that OBI does collections. A lot of companies do collections where you can get a smaller quantity and see how well it goes before you purchase the whole line. Considering what you want to offer, are you going to fall into a more organic category? What do you want from your product companies? If you're going to go with a company, you're paying that company. Well, what are you going to get from the company? Not just the product, but they also need to provide education. They also, if you have questions about something, it needs to provide a hotline where you are able to get your questions answered. Cut this phone off. Yeah, you need to provide a hotline where you're able to get your questions answered. So really think about the companies that are out here. If you're going to go with a company, do your research, check around. It's just like going into a marriage. That company's going to help you make a lot of money on the end, and you're going to help the company on the front end. They're going to help you on the back end. So you're going to go into partnership with the company. This is why you go to trade shows and things of that nature. So you're able to sit in on the classes, talk to the people who actually made it, talk to them about ingredients, talk to them about things that you use the product, and this is what has gone on with it, whether you like it or not. But be able to talk to them. Again, consultation is one of the biggest characteristics of all the services you offer. Being able to conversate with your client. Of course, we got some advanced consultation, but just going back to the basics, using your eyes, okay? Touching, feeling, using your senses, okay? You're evaluating your client's nails and skin. Anything that does not look normal, we want to ask questions about, okay? Anything, if we see some drying, we see some oiliness, we see some broken skin, if you see redness, you see spots here, anything that's causing you to say, hey, this is not a normal skin of a foot, this is not normal on someone's hand, this is not normal on someone's arm, I'm going to ask questions about it. Okay, I'm going to ask questions about it. Identify diseases and disorders. Okay, that's what we're going to pick up on tomorrow as we begin to identify diseases and disorders. One of the key components, you're going to have a couple of references of this on the exam as well. The most important thing is when we see it, we say something. Okay, when we see it, we say something. And so I'm going to tell you now signs of infection. All right, it's going to be redness. Signs of infection is going to be pain. It's going to be swelling. It's going to be pus. Okay, those are some signs of infection. And so when you see those signs, it becomes now you have 100 different questions, whether we can do this or not, and then where all of this come from. it's good to be in partnership with a podiatrist. Sometimes when you're looking for a partner, or I call them industry partners, you can have several podiatrists that's in your network. You say, hey, I do pedicures, but I can recommend clients to you that I see that need your help. And you can do the same thing. Once they see you, send them back to me. You can do that with several offices, and sometimes you just have to stop by and build a conversation and talk to them. Okay. I do know that they come, those doctors come around all the time to nursing homes, things of that nature. So if you're looking for something a little bit more relaxed, go check and see what they got going on with nursing homes and rehabs and things of that nature. It's a more relaxed atmosphere, but you know you're going to deal with probably more things going on with the feet. As you begin to explore those areas, learn about them, you'll be more valuable, and you'll be the top guru to really take care of them. And honestly, it is, you can make a lot of money in this particular area. And when it comes to trouble, people having issues with their feet, they even go to advanced specialists. Okay, so there's an advanced, not just manicure degree, there's an advanced pedicure degree. Okay, I don't know if you guys heard of it or seen it before, but there's a whole course that you go through and you have to pass in order to work on that scale. And most of the time, individuals that work on that scale, they only do clients with issues with their feet. They don't even do people that don't have issues. They do clients, particularly that have something going on with their feet. At this point, you hear people call foot doctor, foot medical, issues. And guess what? Their insurance starts to pay for it. All right. So you get referred, you become part of a directory um, from the insurance companies. So that's something to look into. All of that is under your cosmetology license, all of it. Okay. So as we come back on tomorrow, we're going to pick up on slide 38, and we're also going to go into the ebook and pick up on identifying diseases and disorders of the foot. Okay. And we're going to check back in with diseases and disorders of the hand, but that's going to be tomorrow at 10. All right. And then we'll also go into our PSI and look at our nail components and highlight that to make sure we are targeting those areas that would be on your exam. I talked to him, the PSI, and I asked were there any updates. And last week he told me there were no updates, but um, in the recording, he did say to always refer back to the booklet. And he said, break it down, tear it apart. So, guys, that's what we're about to do for the next couple of weeks. We're going to tear apart that CIB booklet and make sure you know exactly where these areas are. All right. So we got to tear the booklet down. He said, tear it apart and we'll be all right. Also, I'm going to put into the group what Pooja had put as far as an app that she downloaded that also helped her along with her study guides and everything. Okay. So y'all have a great and amazing day. I do have another class around 1 o'clock. I don't know if the young lady is finished. So I don't know if we're going to do a tutoring session or not. That was for skincare, but I know I'll be back on at 5:30 today. Okay. So I'll be back on at 5:30 today with my teachers. But y'all, I'm working all day today, getting things together. So if you need me, I'm by my phone. All right. Y'all have a blessed and amazing day. I'll talk to you soon.